Good morning. So finally, we're getting to do some work on the actual stone buildings, or some work towards the stone buildings. So we've decided, after further inspection of the existing septic tank, that it's not in good fettle. So we had decided that we're going to get a new concrete septic tank, so we can install it over in the lower field, so that we can supply both these stone buildings with a decent sewerage system that'll last for many years to come, rather than a problematic one that we're going to need to maintain. It'll probably be quicker to install a new one than to rectify the problems with the old one. So today we're going to go and pick up a new tank.
This is going to be a really long video today because we're going to show you end-to-end installation of this septic tank system. But before we start that, we needed to do a little bit of work on the digger because it's going to be doing all of the heavy lifting for this particular task. The septic tank system, you'll have spotted there in the background, it comes in 4 parts, so they need to be lifted into place and moved about, etc. And bizarrely enough, this septic tank was made around about 20 minutes away from my hometown in Ireland, so all the way over to Wales, and then we picked it up near Aberystwyth and brought it back home for us to install, to replace that old septic system, or like a cesspit system that was previously in place. So just tightening up a few of the parts of the digger. We know that it needs to be rebrushed in a few places, but until such time as we've got the ability to put it up into dry dock, as it were, and do some proper planned maintenance on it, we just have to make running repairs. We need a big clean space so we can get everything really clean and get everything greased effectively. So over to the rest of this video. Thanks very much for joining. Remember, if you like what you're seeing, please do like, subscribe, etc. Do get in touch in the comments. We love having the questions that you pose us, as well as an opportunity to just show our appreciation for you joining us. before deciding to buy this system, we did consider creating our own multi-chamber system. That would have meant making it out of concrete, but we'd have had to do an awful lot more work. So that's why in the end we decided, well, we're going to save an awful lot of time. It'll come in a very similar cost, but take significantly less time to actually do this. So you'll see in the big pit that we've dug for this system that all we're doing is putting in those little aggregate islands. That's another benefit of this precast system, because it's been made in the way that it has been. It's super reinforced, and there are wire fibers the whole way through the structure, so we know that it's going to be able to handle the pressure from the backfill around it, as well as the pressure from the water inside it, the waste and water inside it. So we don't have any concerns about what it's going to behave like in the future. We're also installing an additional inspection chamber so that we're able to access away from the septic tank system itself to maintain it should there be any problems. So very confident about this solution. But yes, we did consider just building our own system. It would have had 3 different chambers in it, but we decided after doing the research that this one with its 2 chambers gives the exact same effect. It doesn't need any power source, because again, we did look at systems that came in slightly more expensive than this, but had a need for a little electric pump to help with the maceration. And we just thought, well, we want to stay true to being off-grid, so we've compromised by not having a complete DIY septic system, but to have a system that needs to be powered as well, then would mean that we're going to be using our very precious power supply resource just to maintain the sewerage system, so it just didn't make sense for us. And that's why we ended up with this particular product. Very pleased with it. It was easy to source, and it was easy for us to get. As you could see, we've got a trailer, we've got the tipper, so we were very well positioned to go and fetch this ourselves. If, however, people are not in the position to be able to do that for themselves, the supplier that we used, and I will put some contact details below, the supplier that we used does deliver, and I believe you can also arrange for a fitting service. Fantastic people to do business with.
That's him. So we're going to take these over there now. I've just put the 2 eyelets in our first tank. We'll lift him and take him and put him in the hole.
You don't need a bolt for this pin.
No, I can't move from there. Do you want to hook that one up a minute?
Good morning. So here we are. It's finally stopped raining, which is a big and thank you for that. Here we see we have the septic tank bases. They're in the hole. They're on top of the compacted hardcore, and in the rain I backfilled around them so that I could stop the water filling the hole up. Yet to walk on it. I'm guessing it's kind of squishy because it was a bit soupy when I was putting it in, but no, it's actually taking my weight. So the exercise for today is to see how far we can get towards putting those lids on top of the septic tank bases. So the guy we bought them from advised us to blacken the rim with some blackjack bitumen paint and then apply the bitumen rubber seal to the top edge before lowering the top piece on. So we'll get on now with bitumen painting. Obviously this whole job's been on hold because we need to use bitumen, and it's been pouring with rain, so my guesses are bitumen and water are not going to provide a good seal between the top and bottom. And reasons it's important is if the tanks don't seal properly, they won't hold water up to the top levels. It will leach out into the area, and then the bio process, fermentation if you like, won't be able to happen as well if the tank is only half as full. So we'll get on today now with bitumen the tops and set the digger up, put the chains back on, get the bucket off, and try and place the top pieces over the bottom pieces, which is a bit difficult single-handedly because you've got no perspective of distance when you're in the cab of the digger, so you don't know whether it's exactly lined up, so it'll be in and out of the cab many times, I'm sure. And hope that the arm stays upright, because each section is 600 kilos, so the tendency for the arm to drop is the pressure on the hydraulic system means that the arm would like to slowly creep downwards, so you can't be long off the joysticks. So I'll pop you up on the tripod over there where you were the other day or earlier in the video, and you can watch on. I think is the best solution. So the tank is up in the air, as you can see. It's suspended. The top flange of the base unit is all, had to warm it up with a blowtorch a bit to get it to dry, and then get the bitumen to stick nicely, which it has. And then I got the part 2, it says on here. So part 2 is the second half of the system. So there's a part 1 on there, on a part 2 on there, and a part 1 on the other piece that's over there. Now on these here, just going to pop you over here so you can see what I'm doing. Where can I put you? Just rest you on there for now. Well, hopefully. So there's an inlet pipe and an outlet pipe. Obviously the inlet pipe is higher than the outlet pipe. So that's 725 to the bottom of the concrete casting on that side. Exactly the same. Oh well.
put everything in and out.
It's very strange that.
I was led to believe they were different heights.
So I'm gonna find you a new home because you're quite perilous, but as it's rained every single day for 2 months solid, we're surrounded by a soup. And everywhere you go is sticky and muddy. Give it the other way. See if I can get this to turn. Not enough. Oh well. Would you believe it? Of course you would. There's a lovely view of the sky. It's not really interesting today. That's a better view there. So I had a rummage, look for microphones. Looked where they obviously would have been kept, and I looked in the drawers and then looked for his best chance, but it appears I ain't got the airtime or the effort. He hadn't been. Well, it's caked in mud, 2 drawers up further on top of carpet. So we'll have to do without the microphone today.
well out of my comfort zone, but it looks like they're in. Good morning. Well, I'm a bit confused today because my shoulders are dry and there's this bloody big yellow thing in the sky and the temperature's t-shirt weather, so I think spring might be on its way, and I think we need it here because we've had so much rain. It's been really miserable, so let's pray that this sun stays with us. So today's challenge is to connect these two septic tanks together. So as you saw earlier in the video, which was yesterday, we put the two tops on. I put the two tops on and let them settle overnight because I wanted to see and just make sure that the bitumen is squidged out. The bitumen sausage that joins the two is squidged out and that they're in the right location. So the only way to really test these now is to connect the two together using slidey over rubbers. We went out and purchased yesterday afternoon, which is why it all stopped yesterday afternoon, because this needed to be collected from local drainage suppliers. So these fit on here quite simply, both slide collars. They also rubber flexible collars because the pipes are not quite in line perfectly with each other. It should be good to connect them. So we cut the piece of pipe, this is the gap in between. Just connect them together. Connect a piece of pipe between them. Then I can connect a manhole on the incoming side, so that it's serviceable or roddable. 575 by there, and then I can run a pipe, dig a little trench across the road there, connect it up to the existing manholes that we put in last year now. So we were originally going to put them into the existing septic tank, but it's not looking too clever, so I think it's leaching out because it's not full. Even though there's water running into it, the tank isn't full. So as it hasn't been used in 50 years plus, then 60 years. So somebody lived here. I'm assuming it's dead, so we've gone with these. These are the simplest way to fit. These don't use any electricity, they biodegrade the waste matter and produce clean water coming out the end, which will go in down the trench that we've dug and into a reed bed at the bottom, which is way away from any water source, so complies with all regulations. So we'll connect these two together. We'll stop rambling, and you'll see me connect the manhole up onto the end with the two connectors that we bought, because obviously our pipe work is 6 inch and these are now running off a 4 inch, so we have to reduce them down into a manhole. And then from the manhole here I can peg a straight line across from the manhole over by the cabin over there, and then I can dig a trench and put in the adjoining pipes. And then once they're in, I'll drop a hose pipe from the spring into the end manhole of the run, which is the far side of the cabin, and that should fill these two tanks. And by doing so, I can double check that we have no leaks. Until I know we have no leaks, I shall be backfilling them in case I need to separate them and address the seal between them, but I'm hoping and praying that this is sealed. So we can only find out by filling them up. And that'll be the two joined together. So we put this aside for now. It's kind of joyous to see the sun at last. Doing a lot, because we've been able to. Most of our tasks at the moment are outdoor tasks, so we've just been hunkered down, riding out the storm, if you like. It seems like the storm has been going on for months on end now. Well, it actually has here, so it's rained every single day this year, somewhere in Wales. I do think that somewhere is here, because I don't recall a day that I've been here that it hasn't been. That size would be a no-go. I think it would just be a matter of going buying another fitting. I'm giving this an hour from here to buy a fitting. I don't want to break any, so that's quick and easy. So, one manhole. Some people like to call it an inspection failure. So, the plan, you see here, this is a 6-inch through at the bottom, with 4 inches tying a 4-inch there and a 6-inch each side. So, what I need to do for all of our drainage pipes I did it in 6-inch belts and braces reese. So I need to get that into there. Become apparent now. Everyone's friend this. The WD on there. Oh. There he goes. That there, I can get my hand to there, see? So, should we get any blockages on the reduction, which is not ideal having a reduction, they don't do these tanks with 6-inch pipes, which I was hoping they did, but they don't. So, I bought a 45 elbow and then a reducer, so I can get to the manhole all the way into the tank, so I don't need to be rodding in the tank. So I'm hoping I might actually trim some of that pipe off there. Oh. So can you see me? You should be able to see me. I'll just adjust the angle there so a good shellacking of WD. On there nicely. Boink. Support this somehow. Here's my challenge for today, is to support that. So, it's probably the best solution. So I'm going to tape across the beach. Looking good. So obviously the grub level will be filled up to here. Support that. Doesn't take much. Rather good timber thing. Look at this pipe at 900 mil. We don't need lots of pieces throughout the site, so we're not really wasting any. excavations. Just going to dig and trench through that banking in that direction. That looks like it's like a lovely where the other manhole is. So I'll try and put tools left out now. Put these back in there. Chuck it in, nice and organised. Take this over there now and open it back up. You can turn it around so it faces the sun so it can dry up nicely. If I lift you off here, I'll be able to show you. So there is the join. The outlet is on this side here. Oop, down you go. There. The outlet is on the second tank. That is the lowest point of the two. Obviously you can't see here, but you would have seen if you earlier in the video, the bottom halves are sunk in the soil. That was a puddle. And then all the way down there, alongside the digger, I hope it picks it up, is a trench that leads downhill all the way down the boundary. And it'll turn the corner under the second tree and run off down there into the reed bed. So we're putting there are reeds everywhere down there, but we're going to concentrate a reed bed and plant a reed bed halfway down that slope over there, which is hundreds of meters from any water course. So it'll digest in the first tank, it'll pass through, digested into the second tank where further digestion will take place, and that's digestion not like the biscuit, but don't even think of that. So out of this manhole here, if you can see, there's another manhole there at the end of the cabin, and we go up there. Walk up around here through all the mud and all the slop. So at the end of the cabin there is a manhole at the end of the wall there. I'm sure Jo will be able to zoom in on her editing, and it'll come across the lane underground straight in to that manhole that's in there in 6-inch. One straight run. We got a few lengths of pipe, and we also got some drainage pipe there for a French drain that we're putting in across the front of the cabin to try and dry up some of this. Ooh. But bad. It's been dry for a day and a half. We're still surrounded by thick mud. Everywhere we look, it's thick mud all over our feet, all over everything we're trying to achieve. Great. So let's pray we get a spell of dry so we can do things. So that's it for the Pista camera. I'm going to keep the time-lapse camera running, and I'm going to dig a trench through from one to the other. Looks like we got a nice fall there. We need between 1 in 80 and 1 in 40 as a fall for the soil, and that looks like it's probably in between the two. So no reason to step down at all. No reason for any chambers with risers or anything like that. It's great. It's all working out great. Oh, that was a long day. So a problem we had right at the last minute. I don't know if the main camera died, but here we have it in. They're now connected to each other. I want to see water coming out that end spout by there. So those two running downhill. There's the manhole. Oh, the reducer we talked about. 6-inch manhole. Chamber base. 450 of pipe and then two 6-metre runs. If you look down the length of the pipe, you see a bend in him, and this is because of the angle. What I could have done with was a 15-degree 160mm underground single socket bend, but I found out I needed that at 5 o'clock and everything had shut, so I couldn't get one. So my options were limited. So I searched for one, see if I could find one. Screwfix, Tool Station, the usuals. They only stock the standard 110mm, they don't stock a 6-inch, so that wasn't happening. So you can see the bend on it there. So what I did, try and get a good angle on this. Where it comes out of the manhole, inspection chamber, it wasn't sat quite right, and it's still on a bit of an angle now, but nothing too severe. So what I had to do was bury the pipe where it comes out of the manhole and then bend the whole length. So that mound of soil there on the right is holding it that way, right by there. So that the angle coming out of the manhole is sealed. And then as it comes out of there, going down the trench, you can see it's curved all the way. Now I'm assuming the fall is good. I haven't stuck a level on it yet, but it's connected up all the way through, so didn't think I was going to get that done today, but there we go. Never say never. So I'll pop you back on time lapse now, and then you can see me check the levels, and I'll see how much of it I can get backfilled before it gets dark, because it's 6 o'clock and it's getting dark by the minute. So just before dark, we're backfilled. Enough for Jo to drive over as she came home from work. And my main aim for the day was, listen to that. Oh yeah. So There's water running in to our septic tank from the stream. So last year we put a load of drainage in. It's been led dormant since, and this is the first time since we come here that we've had a running sewer. The water's coming into the tank. So, just in the nick of time. So there we go. Carlow's concrete septic tanks. What I'd like to see now in the morning, I keep my fingers crossed, pray that they're nice and dry on the outside and they're full of water. What's our chances? I pray that the physics of that simple bitumen sausage is going to seal those concrete tanks together, and I pray that me on my own have managed to get the two lined up and the sausage fitted correctly, because we've had 2 months of rain and I've scrabbled a little bit probably to warm in the rim of the bottom section with a blowtorch, trying to get the bitumen paint onto it. Just hope I wasn't too hasty, but we'll find out in the morning. So that's enough for this evening, because as you can see, it's dark. Good evening. That was the end of a long day I wish I didn't have to do, but woke up to find that the tank there you see was leaking on the seal between the two. So the water level in the left hand one there has remained the same, 3/4 full, and the water in the right hand one had drained out through the seal. So unfortunately I had to separate the two tanks, the top and bottom half, sorry, of the same tank, and dry everything out. There were also a couple of pinholes in the concrete which I wasn't too impressed with, but I've tanked with bitumen the bottom foot of the concrete tank and the bottom of the flange where they meet together, and the top of the flange on the bottom tank, and then put a third sausage. Luckily we had a third bitumen sausage with the tanks when we picked them up, and warmed it all up with a blowtorch prior to dropping it back down. So I just hope and pray that's sealed now. It won't be coming back off again. I've got another plan should it leak further, and that's to backfill around the bottom one with sand and create a little sand moat like you do when you cast lead in sand. Just form a little moat around the seal and get a 20 litre or whatever size, 20 kilo bitumen block, and warm it up with a roofing torch and just pour it around and seal it that way. I mean, that will do it. It'll hold it even better probably, but let's hope it's sealed. But as you can see, if you could see much in this light, it's just about faded out now. I managed to get the 36 metre run of drainage pipe in, which leads all the way down. I'm going to backfill this with some coarse chipping so it acts as a soak away, because obviously the ground there to the right hand side is higher, and if we can channel it off, it'll go down there into the new reed bed then, so it'll form the moisture for the reed bed if we can pick it up. So it's a good day. Like I said, I wish it wasn't a day I had to do, but I thought I was done on the tanks, but at least they're in now, and I'll leave it now overnight for the bitumen all to set, and
the top tank to squidge the sausage, and for the bitumen I painted on as well to dry up, harden, and then we'll try filling it with water in the morning. So roll on the morning.
So end to end, probably 5 days work, really satisfying. And look, you'd hardly even know it was there now. Till next time.